The 7 levels of underrated mutants explained. Level 1, Overlooked Specialists, Cypher. Created by Chris Claremont and Sal Buscema, Douglas Ramsey first appeared in The New Mutants number 13 in March 1984 as Kitty Pryde's computer-savvy friend who shared her passion for video games and programming. Initially unaware of his mutant nature, Doug joined the team in issue number 21 after the New Mutants desperately needed his help to communicate with the techno-organic alien warlock, taking the codename Cypher. During his initial run with the team, he became the least popular New Mutant among both fans and creators. Writers and artists complained he was difficult to use in action sequences since his non-combat abilities meant he'd simply hide behind trees during fights. This widespread dislike led to his death in The New Mutants number 60 in February 1988, where he heroically took a bullet meant for his teammate Wolfsbane. Ironically, his death issue became one of the series' most acclaimed moments, and the character only became beloved after his heroic sacrifice. Cypher's mutant ability to intuitively understand any language, spoken, written, coded, gestural, or even mathematical, extends far beyond simple translation. His power operates on a subconscious, almost telepathic level, allowing him to decipher alien dialects in minutes that would take linguists years to crack, read computer code and binary as naturally as English, interpret body language to predict opponent combat moves, and even interface directly with living systems like the sentient island of Krakoa. During the Krakoan era, what was once dismissed as the weakest and most useless mutant power became absolutely essential to mutant civilization. As the sole translator capable of communicating with the living island, Cypher developed Krakoa's entire interface system using light instead of electricity, enabling mutants to live in harmony with their new home. He earned a seat on the Quiet Council representing Krakoa itself, proving his value. His deep friendship and occasional merger with Warlock created a techno-organic gestalt, being that combined their consciousnesses and perceptions. After his resurrection during 2009's Necrosha storyline, Cypher evolved beyond communication, becoming a master strategist who could analyze and exploit weaknesses in any system, biological, mechanical, or social, proving himself one of mutankind's most valuable and versatile assets. Dust. Created by Grant Morrison and Ethan Van Sciver, Soraya Kadir first appeared in New X-Men number 133 in December 2002 as part of Morrison's acclaimed run reimagining the X-Men franchise. She was introduced as a young Afghan mutant who had been sold into slavery before being rescued by Wolverine and Phantom X during a mission. Dust broke significant ground as one of Marvel's first devout Muslim superheroes, choosing to wear traditional niqab and modest clothing as an expression of her faith rather than oppression, challenging West stereotypes. She joined the student body at the Xavier Institute and became a member of the new X-Men training squad, where her reserved nature, strict religious beliefs, and strong moral compass created compelling character dynamics with her more rebellious teammates. Dust's mutant ability allows her to transform her entire body into a sentient cloud of sand particles at will, giving her one of the most versatile and defensive power sets among young mutants. In her sand form, she becomes virtually indestructible and immune to physical harm. Bullets, energy blasts, and conventional attacks pass harmlessly through her dispersed particles without causing damage. She maintains complete control over each individual grain of sand, allowing her to shape herself into various forms, including deadly sandstorms capable of stripping flesh from bone, or gentle breezes that can slip through the smallest cracks and openings. Her sand form grants her flight capability, infiltration abilities that make locked rooms meaningless, and immunity to most conventional attacks. She's struggled with reconciling her deep faith and gentle nature with the violence sometimes required of X-Men membership, creating internal conflict that adds depth to her character. Despite being one of the first Muslim superheroes in mainstream comics and possessing incredibly versatile powers with both offensive and defensive applications, Dust remains criminally underused in major X-Men storylines, rarely receiving the character development or spotlight she deserves. Level 2. Untapped Potential. Blink. Created by Scott Lobdell and Joe Madureira, Clarice Ferguson first appeared in Uncanny X-Men number 317 in October 1994 during the Phalanx Covenant storyline. She was introduced as a young mutant captured by the Phalanx during their terrifying attempt to assimilate all mutant kind into their techno-organic collective. Tragically, Clarice died shortly after her debut while helping the X-Men escape, using her teleportation powers to destroy a Phalanx entity at the cost of her own life. However, an alternate reality version of Blink from the Age of Apocalypse timeline proved so immensely popular with readers that she became a recurring character in that dystopian universe, eventually leading to the main timeline Blink being resurrected years later. This created a somewhat confusing situation with two distinct versions of the character existing simultaneously in Marvel continuity, which may have contributed to her chronic underutilization despite her impressive powers and strong fan following. Blink's teleportation abilities function fundamentally differently from other teleporters like Nightcrawler, making her potentially far more dangerous and versatile in combat situations. Rather than simply moving herself and others from place to place, Blink generates crystalline teleportation javelins and portals that she can actively weaponize in creative ways. She can teleport only parts of objects or people by opening portals within solid matter, effectively cutting through any material or opponent with surgical precision. Her teleportation javelins can send targets to specific coordinates she chooses or into the void of space, making them absolutely lethal projectiles. Unlike Nightcrawler, who requires line of sight and has significant range limitations, Blink can teleport over vast interstellar distances and even between dimensions, without the noisy BAMF displacement that makes Kurt's jumps so obvious. She creates portals as defensive shields to block attacks, redirects enemy attacks through portals back at the attackers themselves, or teleports parts of structures to create instant barriers or trap enemies in impossible positions. Despite these incredible abilities that could make her one of the X-Men's most valuable tactical assets in any situation, Blink has been relegated to background appearances and alternate reality stories for most of her existence, ironically, appearing more prominently in television's The Gifted than in the comics where she originated. Karma. Created by Chris Claremont and Frank Miller, Xi'an Koi-man first appeared in Marvel Team-Up number 100 in December 1980, before becoming a founding member of the New Mutants. Karma holds the important distinction of being one of the first openly lesbian characters in mainstream superhero comics, though her sexuality wasn't explicitly addressed in stories until years after her creation due to comics code restrictions. Her origin story is deeply tragic. A Vietnamese refugee who escaped to America with her younger twin siblings after their family was torn apart by war, political persecution, and violence. She initially clashed with Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four while under the mental control of her criminal uncle, but once freed from his influence, Professor Xavier recognized her potential and recruited her as one of the original New Mutants, where she served as the team's first field leader due to her maturity and sense of responsibility compared to her younger, more inexperienced teammates. Karma's mutant ability grants her the power to psionically possess other beings, taking complete telepathic control of their bodies and accessing their memories, skills, and knowledge, while her own body falls into a vulnerable comatose state. She can make possessed targets speak, move, and act according to her will, essentially becoming a puppet master. She can possess multiple people simultaneously, though this divides her concentration and weakens her control over each individual. Her power works on both regular humans and many superhuman beings, making her incredibly dangerous, despite often being overlooked in favor of flashier, more visually impressive mutant abilities. The ethical implications of her power create fascinating character conflicts. Karma must constantly balance the inherent violation of controlling another person's body and free will against the necessity of using her abilities to protect innocence and her teammates. Her possession ability has proven devastatingly effective against physically powerful opponents who would otherwise easily overwhelm the X-Men, since raw strength means absolutely nothing against complete mental domination. Despite being a founding New Mutant and an important pioneer for LGBTQ+ representation in comics, Karma rarely receives spotlight roles in major X-Men events or storylines. Level 3, powerful but forgotten. Cannonball. Created by Chris Claremont and Bob McLeod, Samuel Guthrie first appeared in Marvel graphic novel number 4 in 1982 as part of the New Mutants debut. As the oldest child of a large Kentucky coal mining family, Sam's mutant powers manifested while he was working in the dangerous mines alongside his father, saving him and his co-workers from a deadly cave-in. This working-class background and strong sense of family responsibility made Cannonball one of the most relatable and grounded X-characters, consistently serving as the heart and moral center of the New Mutants through their many adventures. He was handpicked by Professor Xavier to lead the team despite his initial self-doubt, and Sam developed into one of the most capable and respected young leaders in the entire X-Men franchise. Cannonball later graduated from the New Mutants to the paramilitary X-Force under Cable's command, and eventually earned a coveted position on the main X-Men roster itself, one of the very few New Mutants to successfully make that prestigious jump to the premier team. Cannonball's mutant ability allows him to generate intense thermochemical energy within his body and release it explosively through his skin as powerful thrust, essentially transforming himself into a living rocket capable of supersonic flight. While propelling himself at high speeds, Sam is surrounded by an essentially invulnerable protective force field that shields him from harm and allows him to use his entire body as a devastating battering ram capable of smashing through nearly any obstacle or enemy. His blast field makes him virtually invincible while in flight. He survived falls from orbital heights, withstood direct attacks from cosmic-level powerhouses like Gladiator, and emerged completely unscathed from battles that would instantly kill normal mutants. Beyond simple high-speed flight, Sam can use his powers for devastating offensive strikes, change direction mid-flight with incredible precision and control, and even carry multiple passengers while maintaining his protective field around all of them. The true cosmic extent of his potential was tantalizingly hinted at when Cable cryptically suggested Sam might actually be an immortal High Lord, genetically destined to become one of the most powerful beings in the entire universe, though this fascinating thread has been largely abandoned by writers. Despite his thoroughly proven leadership abilities, impressive power level, and decades of dedicated X-Men service, Cannonball has been inexplicably and frustratingly sidelined in recent years, relegated to occasional background appearances when he absolutely should be standing right alongside legends like Cyclops and Storm as one of the X-Men's premier leaders and heavy hitters. Surge. Created by Nunzio De Filippis, Christina Weir, and Karen Grant, Noriko Ashita first appeared in New Mutants Volume 2, number 8 in February 2004, becoming the new X-Men's breakout lead character. A Japanese runaway, her unstable electrical powers required Forge's gauntlets for regulation. Surge absorbs electricity and discharges lightning, or enhances her super speed. Absorbed energy accelerates her thoughts, making her nearly impossible to catch off guard. She drains power grids, projects devastating lightning, and moves at blurring speeds. Her gauntlets prevent uncontrolled absorption while storing energy for attacks. She emerged as a natural leader through competence, but M-Day shifted focus from her generation. Despite being positioned as a future leader, years of underutilization kept her from deserved iconic status. Chamber. Created by Scott Lobdell and Chris Bachalo, Jonathan Starsmore first appeared in Generation X #1 in November 1994 during the mid-90s expansion of the X-Men line. Chamber's origin is genuinely one of the most tragic and horrifying in all of X-Men history. When his mutant powers first manifested violently as a teenager in London, the unstable psionic energy literally exploded outward from his chest with devastating force, completely destroying his lower face, throat, and much of his upper torso in an instant. This horrific, life-altering awakening left him physically unable to speak conventionally, forcing him to communicate telepathically for the rest of his life, and scarred him both physically with visible damage and emotionally with deep trauma. He became a founding member of Generation X, the Massachusetts Academy-based Junior X team led by reformed villain Emma Frost and Irish mutant Banshee, where his distinctly British cynicism, emotional walls, and struggle with self-image made him one of the team's most psychologically complex and compelling characters. Chamber's mutant ability taps directly into a seemingly limitless furnace of raw psionic energy that constantly burns and churns within his chest cavity, where his biological organs used to be before their destruction. He can project this volatile energy outward as absolutely devastating concussive blasts that have proven powerful enough to severely damage Sentinels and harm beings operating far above his apparent power class. The psionic fire sustains his body and life force, meaning he doesn't need to eat, drink, or even breathe in the traditional biological sense. The mystical energy itself keeps him alive and functional despite the massive physical trauma and damage his body has permanently sustained. He can consciously vary the intensity and focus of his energy blasts, from surgically precise cutting beams to massive wide-area explosions depending on tactical needs, and the fact that the energy source powering him is essentially infinite means he literally never runs out of ammunition even during extended battles. His secondary telepathic communication ability developed purely out of dire necessity after losing his physical voice. What makes Chamber particularly compelling from a thematic perspective is how he perfectly embodies the core mutant metaphor. His devastating powers literally and visibly mark him as irreversibly different in a way he can never hide or disguise, forcing him to constantly confront both external prejudice and his own fractured self-image. Despite being one of the most visually distinctive and genuinely powerful members of Generation X with incredible storytelling potential, Chamber has been largely forgotten and ignored by Marvel editorial, appearing only sporadically in minor roles without receiving the substantial character development or major spotlight that other Gen X members like Jubilee or X-23 eventually received. Level 4. Criminally underused. Sunfire. Created by Roy Thomas and Don Heck, Shiro Yoshida first appeared in X-Men number 64 in January 1970. His powers manifested at Hiroshima's ruins, where his mother was exposed to atomic radiation. This trauma filled him with Western hatred, debuting as an X-Men antagonist before evolving into Japan's premier hero. Sunfire absorbs solar radiation and converts it into plasma, rivaling the sun's surface temperature. He creates massive firestorms, flies via superheated plasma jets, and melts through anything. Solar energy makes him stronger during daytime. His plasma form grants heat and radiation immunity. He led Big Hero 6 before Disney's Divergent adaptation. Despite being among the most powerful mutants and having a compelling arc from villain to hero, he's relegated to guest appearances when Marvel visits Japan. Northstar. created by John Byrne, Jean-Paul Beaubier first appeared in X-Men number 120 in April 1979 with Alpha Flight. He's one of comics' first gay superheroes, coming out in Alpha Flight number 106 in 1992, a landmark moment generating mainstream media attention. His 2012 marriage in Astonishing X-Men number 51 became mainstream comics' first same-sex wedding. Northstar possesses superhuman speed, approaching light velocity and independent flight. He moves, thinks, and reacts at incredible speeds, delivering hundreds of punches instantly or dodging multiple attacks. Combining flight with speed makes him nearly unstoppable. He generates blinding light flashes and has enhanced metabolism, despite historical importance as an LGBTQ+ icon and formidable powers rivaling Quicksilver. Northstar only intermittently serves on X-Men, appearing for token representation before disappearing. Level 5. Near Omega Forgotten. Mirage. Created by Chris Claremont and Bob McLeod, Danielle Moonstar first appeared in Marvel graphic novel number 4 in 1982 as a founding new mutant. A Cheyenne mutant whose powers tie to her Native American heritage, Dani evolved from frightened teenager to Valkyrie of Asgard. She served as New Mutants leader, Xavier Institute mentor, and X-Men member. Mirage creates three-dimensional psionic illusions from people's deepest fears or desires, causing psychological or physical trauma. She developed animal connections, bonding with the wolf Brightwind, which caught Odin's attention. As Valkyrie, she gained enhanced strength, death perception abilities marking the dying with glowing auras, and a mystical bow firing light arrows. Bridging Asgardian magic and native spirituality, she's one of Marvel's most unique characters. Despite incredible abilities and leadership potential comparable to Storm or Cyclops, Mirage rarely appears in major storylines. M. Monet St. Croix. Created by Scott Lobdell and Chris Bachalo, Monet St. Croix first appeared in Uncanny X-Men number 316 in September 1994 before joining Generation X. Daughter of Algerian billionaire Cartier St. Croix, her introduction involved a complex mystery where she was actually two sisters merged while the real Monet was trapped as the creature Penance. She's essentially a mutant Superman with Emma Frost's attitude. M possesses superhuman strength exceeding 100 tons, near invulnerability to physical harm, supersonic flight, genius-level intellect processing information at superhuman rates, plus telepathy and telekinesis. This combination should make her a heavy hitter comparable to Jean Grey or Storm. Her supremely confident, sometimes arrogant personality provides great team dynamics. Despite 25+ years with this god-tier power set, Monet has never broken through to mainstream recognition, relegated to team books without the solo series or development she deserves. Darwin. Created by Ed Brubaker and Trevor Hairsine, Armando Munoz first appeared in X-Men Deadly Genesis number 2 in January 2006. Retroactively introduced as one of the missing X-Men sent to rescue the original team from Krakoa before Giant-Size X-Men number 1, Darwin survived while his teammates died. X-Men First Class mishandled his character by killing him despite his unkillable powers. Darwin possesses instant reactive adaptation to any threat, the ultimate survival power. His body automatically evolves exactly what's needed to survive. Drowning creates gills, vacuum eliminates air needs, bullets trigger bulletproof skin, radiation becomes energy. He's developed energy absorption, super strength, night vision, wings, healing, underwater breathing, psychic immunity, and countless adaptations as needed. Sometimes survival means his power teleports him away from unwinnable battles. Despite this incredibly creative and powerful ability, Darwin remains criminally underutilized. Level 6. Omega level ignored. Elixir. Created by Nunzio De Filippis, Christina Weir, and Randy Green, Joshua Foley first appeared in New Mutants Volume 2 number 5 in January 2004. From an anti-mutant family, Josh sought refuge at the Xavier Institute. Initially, his golden skin only healed injuries, but his abilities evolved into terrifying Omega-level biokinesis. Elixir possesses complete control over biological systems at cellular and molecular levels. His golden right hand heals any injury, cures diseases, reverses damage, regrows limbs, and resurrects the dying. His black left hand kills with a touch, inflicting injuries, causing organ failure, or shutting down biology. He manipulates genetics, alters DNA, enhances or suppresses mutations, ages or de-ages organisms, and rewrites biology at will. As one of the 5 during Krakoa, he became essential to resurrection protocols, making mutants functionally immortal. Despite Omega-level classification and literally controlling life and death, Elixir receives minimal development outside resurrection duties. Polaris. Created by Arnold Drake and Jim Steranko, Lorna Dane first appeared in X-Men number 49 in October 1968. Created as a female magnetic counterpart to Magneto, their relationship has been retconned multiple times. Sometimes his daughter, sometimes not. She served with X-Men and X-Factor, developing into a confident hero. Her green hair became her trademark. Polaris possesses magnetic manipulation nearly identical to Magneto's, placing her among the most powerful mutants. She controls all magnetism, manipulating metal with precision and devastating force. She levitates thousands of tons, creates impenetrable magnetic force fields, flies via magnetic field lines, and fires building-leveling magnetic pulses. Her magnetic sense detects metallic objects across vast distances. She manipulates blood iron to control movements, strips weapons instantly, and affects the electromagnetic spectrum for illusions or electronics disruption. At peak power, she's manipulated planetary magnetic fields and tectonic plates. Despite Omega-level capabilities, Polaris has been overshadowed by Magneto, defined by her relationship with Havok or relegated to X-Factor. For a character who should stand alongside Storm and Jean Grey, Polaris remains criminally underrated. Level 7. Legendary powers underrated. Magik. Created by Len Wein and Dave Cockrum, Illyana Rasputina first appeared in Giant Size X-Men number 1 in May 1975 as Colossus's sister. Her transformation into demon sorceress Magik occurred in Uncanny X-Men number 160 in August 1982 by Chris Claremont and Brent Anderson. Kidnapped as a child into hellish limbo where time moved differently, Illyana spent years being tortured and trained by demon sorcerer Belasco. She learned dark magic, eventually overthrowing him and claiming Limbo's rulership. Magik possesses two complementary power sets, making her extraordinarily dangerous. Her mutant teleportation travels through Limbo, making it instantaneous and unblockable. She teleports across vast distances, through dimensions, and even through time, potentially Marvel's most versatile teleporter. Her dark, magic mastery lets her cast devastating spells, summon demons, manipulate mystical energy, and reshape reality in her realm. She wields the Soul Sword, a magical manifestation growing stronger with use, particularly effective against magical beings and disrupting enchantments. As Limbo's ruler, she commands demon armies and controls a hell dimension. Despite prominence during Krakoa and the new Mutants film, Magik deserves recognition as one of Marvel's most powerful beings, combining teleportation, time travel, demon summoning, and reality warping magic. Angel. Created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, Warren Worthington III first appeared in X-Men number 1 in September 1963 as one of the original 5 X-Men. A wealthy heir with feathered wings embodying mutant kind's grace, Warren initially provided aerial support with basic flight and enhanced eyesight. During Mutant Massacre, his wings were brutally amputated, and in despair he was manipulated by Apocalypse into becoming the Horseman of Death, Archangel with razor-sharp metal wings. As Archangel, Warren's powers evolved dramatically. His techno-organic wings reshaped themselves, firing razor-sharp feathers as steel-piercing projectiles coated with neurotoxin that paralyzes or kills. His healing factor recovers from fatal injuries and regrows wings. His blood carries healing properties, curing diseases. He shifts between feathered and metal wings, even manifesting fire wings. Enhanced strength, speed, and stamina make him formidable in combat with aerial superiority. The psychological struggle between Warren's nobility and Archangel's death programming created compelling development. Despite being an original X-Man with decades of history and impressive evolved abilities, Angel/Archangel is often just the guy with wings, rather than the powerful, complex character he's become. Havok. Created by Arnold Drake and Don Heck, Alex Summers first appeared in X-Men number 54 in March 1969 as Cyclops' younger brother. Unlike Scott's optic blast requiring ruby quartz, Alex absorbs cosmic radiation and processes it into plasma concussive blasts. Initially presented as living in Cyclops' shadow despite possessing potentially greater power, this sibling dynamic has defined him as he fights to establish his own identity. Havok's ability to convert cosmic radiation into plasma makes him one of Marvel's most powerful energy projectors. He fires plasma blasts, leveling buildings, melting any material, or matching Iron Man at full power. Cosmic radiation in his environment affects power levels, stronger in space or high radiation areas. Unlike Cyclops, Havok stores absorbed energy and releases it at will for tactical flexibility. His concentric circle chest emblem focuses energy precisely, though he fires from any body part. He and Cyclops have unique mutual immunity to each other's blasts. Alex has led X-Factor, the Brotherhood, and various X-teams, proving himself a capable commander. Despite battling cosmic entities and demonstrating power potentially exceeding Cyclops, Havok remains underrated, defined by relationships rather than achievements, trapped in mind control cycles instead of shining as the powerhouse he should be. If you enjoyed discovering these underrated mutants who deserve way more recognition, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the characters Marvel has criminally overlooked.